There we go. All right. So, folks, what happened there was a poltergeist came out of nowhere.
Demons.
It absolutely. I don't know. I was. Oh no! Don't do that to me, man. I've been taking these psychedelics. Whoa! Just watch Cobra Kai, and I'm all
Oh,
over the place. So, isn't that weird? Anytime you watch like a karate movie or anything, you want to go out and just beat the shit out of somebody. You just like,
yep.
come on, let's
Yep.
fight. All right.
I used to. I used to do that.
Yeah, me
I
too.
actually went. I have a black belt, but I used to go
Do you?
almost every night and just and train and fight.
I got a
Uh,
JC Penny. That's from Karate Kid.
yep.
Remember that?
$2.99.
2.99. I love Mr. Miyagi. He was the
Oh,
best.
he was awesome.
You know what sucks? He's my age now. When I looked it up, I was like, oh, he's this old sweet man.
Yep.
And I looked at his age, and I'm like, oh my god, he's my age. This
Yep.
sucks. Yeah, what was I saying? Because it cut off, and I don't want to watch the. What was I saying? That it's gone too far, like with the spirit box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just to me, it just seems like what the next thing that they're gonna throw in is you know like I saw one show. Do you remember years ago there was that one? It was similar to what we're watching, and it was considered the most haunted house. And the guy went up to the attic and he got hung. He said he got hung. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Oh man, I do remember because there's a picture of him like
Yes.
attached to the beam, like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And I'm sitting there going, okay, so like this is the progression of it because I remember those were my days when I totally believed in things that go bump in the night.
Right.
I was just like, man, like put it this way, I'm not a believer, but I still cannot watch The Exorcist.
Really?
Yeah, it just scared the shit out of me. Like I remember as a little kid seeing that,
Yeah.
and it always scared. It always instilled like I love shows, movies like The Shining, and
Right. Right.
but I cannot watch Saw. I can't watch anything with gore or people chopping their heads. I don't find that, just doesn't do it for me. I love a good scare, like a Hitchcock, like a
Right.
story like
Right.
that. So anyway, um,
But
what
I get it.
what do you
There's
think? What do you think about ghosts? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I really don't have too much except I don't think they exist. And I base that on what has been presented already as evidence. So people bring pictures and video and audio and all this stuff, and they're the idea of how they're gathering this evidence, alleged evidence, is the problem. They don't understand the scientific method. They don't understand scientific controls, experimental controls, biases. They don't understand the methods that they're using have so many flaws that there are dozens and dozens of other reasons why they are getting the anomalies that they get. So when it comes to ghosts, I'm on the side of, hey, once we shut our eyes the last time, that's it. We're done. If there's nothing else, I could be wrong, but I don't know yet because I haven't been there yet. I haven't died. Um, and even people that have died come back with different stories. Sometimes they're similar, sometimes they're different, but they always have something different, and I can't take their word for it because honestly, they were dead.
Well, do you notice the people that always say like something cool happened to them or something weird happened? They always have a book they want to sell.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always like they. By the way, you got to buy mine. For you
Buy
know
the book to know the rest of the story.
the rest of the story of how. And I'm just going, hey man, you just died. Tell me what happened. What's on the other
Right.
side. It's just that I think that's the biggest fear of people, uh and I can't come to grips with it. It's that whole I always remember seeing Stephen King what's his name? Not Stephen King. He would love death. Uh, 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 oh God, I just had his name. The remember he used to have the talk show with the glasses. Remember?
Leonard Nimoy.
No, no.
Um,
He used to be on CNN. Remember? He used to
oh, the with
Larry
the
King. Larry King.
yeah, yeah, okay,
Larry King would always say this about death. He'd always go, "I hate the idea of just not existing anymore."
right,
And that always stuck with me because that is a terrifying thing for me. Like where some people are
right.
like, hey man, when you go, you go. But I'm like, yeah, but you're once you're gone, you're gone. You're literally gone.
You're gone.
And that to me is where people say that's where they hold on to this ghost, where they just go, uh, no, there's something else. Like when I was little, and I wanted to bring this last night, we are talking about the BBC and shows. One of my favorite shows when I was, uh, I'm in Canada, right?
Okay.
So we would watch the BBC because Canadian television back then, as is today, is horrendous, you know? So
Okay.
it's just, there was nothing really good on. And we used to get a lot of shows from the BBC. And one of this one show I used to watch used to be called The Ghosts of Mortley Hall.
Hmm.
And what it was a bunch of ghosts that passed away. And over the years, if one of them died in the 1500s, that's how they dressed in the 15. There was a jester. He died of pneumonia in the 1600s. And then in the 1800s, there was the hunter, Sir Uproar. It was my sister bought me the DVD, and I to this day I still watch it just because it was just this beautiful,
Right.
as a child, you sat there and you thought, okay, when you pass, it's gonna be cool because in a
I can walk
way
through walls.
Kenny, we could hang out forever.
Yeah, forever.
And then after a while, you start as you get older, you realize, you think about it and you go, okay, if you do pass and you're stuck in the house, I mean, I would go crazy.
Yeah.
Like you would literally go, like I'd go, Kenny, you stay on your side of the house and I'll stay on my side because I can't, it's been 400 years,
Right.
dude. I can't
Yeah.
do this anymore.
I need a break.
If we're not allowed to leave the house, we're not allowed. I mean, that would be hell if you think
Yeah.
about it, right?
Yep.
So that was it was a wonderful show. But anyways, I think that's the thing that gets to people is the whole notion of just once you're gone, and that's where psychic and ghosts, where they sit there and go, no, no, listen, there's going to be something there for you.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
There's a
I'm
continuation.
yes. Now I'm agnostic, so I don't know. If
Right.
there is something, great. If there isn't, I don't know. But nobody's ever told me. I've never had anybody come back, or there's never been, and it just, the more I think about it, the more I go, once you're gone, you're gone. And that's why there's so many, like, years from now, like, when Houdini and so many other, like, years after, there was the Amazing Randy, who went after people. um they wanted to just let you know that, like, like, back then, spiritualism in the 20s and 30s was huge,
Hmm.
right? Because
Right.
people are going, oh wow, you get to talk and now there's proof, and Randy is, his lectures of just being absolutely flabbergasted with, people still believe,
Hmm.
like, people still believe, and there's no proof out there.
It's
There's just,
comforting. That's
yes,
it.
that's all it is, man. It's
Yeah.
just a nice warm meal that, you can't wait to come home and eat.
And I
And
get it. I get it.
I get it too. I totally understand.
It's difficult when you really start thinking about it. And I mean, I'm almost 50, so I start thinking about it more and more. Like, when you're a kid, when you're young and you're running around, you don't think about dying, you don't think about death. It's not something, it pops up once in a while. Maybe if a grandparent, or an uncle or an aunt passes away and you have to go to a funeral, you get exposed to it, but it's not something you really think about. You're there in the moment, and then after the funeral's done, you're off playing. You're off at school with your friends and all that, so you don't think about it. But as you get up there, you start thinking about it more. Like, all right, and I've had these long nights because I don't sleep much. I usually, like, I might get 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. That's maximum for me. But I'm up at like 1, 2 in the morning, and sometimes I'm thinking, like, all right, is that really it? When I'm dead, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm about halfway there. So, when I get there, is that it? Is that done when I close my eyes and I leave? What's the point of this? What's the point of this? I spend my life learning more and more, like expanding my knowledge and learning how to do things and trying to create this legacy, so when I am gone, people, I have something to leave behind. Why? What's it for? Why am I doing all this work? Just for the next generation to do work and then die, and then the next generation to do work and die? Like, what's the point? Um, and then usually I'm like, you know what? I'm probably just drunk. I'm gonna go play video games and forget about this. But you do think about it, and when it comes to ghosts and visiting psychics, that brings comfort because it gives you that idea that life goes on. Like, death is just an obstacle. It's just the next step. It's a transition to the next life. And it continues, it goes on, and you get to meet all your friends. Or depending on the beliefs, sometimes you get to come back. You get on this ride again. Or you'll get to see people that you haven't seen in forever because they died 20 years ago, and you'll get to see them, hang out with them for a little bit, and then maybe you'll choose to come back. So all these concepts are very comforting, and they're very appealing to us because when you start thinking about your own mortality, it's scary as shit, and when you have that comfort coming in, it's really easy to accept it.
Yeah.
And for people like us that kind of think, all right, well, death is probably the end, coming to grips with that can be difficult. But like, I've come to grips with it. I still think about it, but I'm okay with it. I'm good with taking that eternal nap because finally I'll be able to sleep for a
Well,
while.
like what you said about you're halfway there, it depends. I mean, eh, I've had three people that I've known, one younger than me and two just a bit older than me, who have just, they got ill. One of
Yeah,
them, accident, another one heart attack. Um, you don't know. You know what I
right,
mean? You don't
right.
know. So, I always sit there and I go, all right, well, I'm 51. What do I got? Like, if nothing bad happens or anything, what do I got? Like 20, 25 years good before I need to wear a diaper and and
Again.
I'm complaining now,
Right.
like you can imagine me complaining, like my wife's like, I don't know how you deal with yourself. Like you complain about everything. And I'm like, she's like, you're like this Jewish old man. You're just constantly complaining about, this sandwich is dry and and it just how can you eat this? And I'm just like, yeah, but yeah, that's the thing that I tell people that, and I don't want to, I always, when I remember my kid asking me because I was listening to a lot of Christopher Hitchens and stuff, and she would hear me and she go, Dad, do you not believe in God? And I just go, well, I didn't want to, I didn't want to tell her.
Right.
because it's a hard thing. And I just go, I don't know, sweetie. I go, you know, what you do is all I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get as much evidence as possible. Okay. And I'm trying to see if it makes sense to me. And,
Mhm.
and if you, uh, if it makes sense to you, um, if you believe that there's a higher power, then that's your belief. Okay. I don't want to crap on anything. And she's like, did you not read the Bible? And I go, I've read it like 3 times.
Yeah.
I've read it. I used to do the rosaries. I used to do everything. I used to,
Yep. Me
you
too.
know. So, and then I realized one day I was just talking to myself, doing the rosaries. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't really talking to anybody, and that's what bothered me. I realized that it's nice out. It was one of those days where I go, it's nice out, and I'm sitting around doing rosaries. So anyways, I just said, you want to do that to anybody, especially your child, but
All right.
you just say, what I said is just, as you get older, you look at things, and don't never believe what others tell you. You take information, you let it meld, and we never be a follower.
Right. Right.
You do you
Verify shit.
Yeah, you be your own person. And because if once you become a follower, then you're just a sheep. So the best thing is to be a wolf. Okay. So be a wolf and figure it out. And she came up to me about a month ago, and she's like, yeah, she just said she understood why I was, because I was constantly searching. When you get in that
Right.
that time where you're just like, you're sitting there going, what's the meaning here, and what's this, and
Right.
you start. I hated watching YouTube videos where they go, and today, stars that have passed away so far, and you're sitting there going, shit, they passed. Wait a minute, that guy's younger than me. What do you mean he passed
Yeah.
away? And
Yeah.
it's that you come to that realization that time is getting to you,
Yeah.
and it will. Uh, I don't mean to be a downer, but it
Oh no,
will.
no, no. We did similar thing with my son when he was born because my wife and I were both raised Catholic, and she was more still in a belief system than I was. And when our son came along, it was more or less like, all right, we're not gonna like raise him Catholic, but when he starts asking questions, I'm not going to push him in a certain direction.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah.
I'm going to say, all right, so what do you want to know? This is what certain people say. This is what other people say. Let's explore all of this stuff. And we've had conversations like that. Um, but I don't push him in any direction. He finds his own way. And if he has questions, we can talk about it,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to tell him outright, no, it doesn't exist. This or this does not exist because I don't know. I really don't know. So we'll discuss it and say, hey, like you said, I've read the Bible. Um, I've gone through it, and I mean, we can pick out a lot of parts that are bad, like really, really bad. And when we discuss those parts, I try not to influence, and just say, hey, like this is what happened. This is what was written about this. And what do you think about it? And he usually comes up with a good answer, like that they shouldn't have done that. That's not right. That's not treating people right. Um, so we've gone from there. And I mean, religion really does come into play here. I mean, with this entire topic that we're talking about with psychics and life after death and talking to spirits, because we're, at least from a Catholic upbringing, we're taught that you go to heaven, life goes on, you can pray, you can talk to your loved ones, and um, whether they give you signs that they're there or not, they're still there, and the psychic or the medium that comes along later in life, it's like, oh, well, I didn't learn about this. Like I remember growing up, I went to Catholic school. Um, a couple grade school years and high school, I was in Catholic school, and I remember being taught like magic was bad. Um, any kind of prophecy where it came from someone outside of religion was bad, but they could have their own prophets, which I didn't understand. That's the first, I think that was the first red flag for me. Like, wait a minute, you're telling me you can have prophets and sometimes oracles, but if someone else comes along and says something, then that's bad. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's not right. But then as I grew, I had similar experiences to you. Like I used to do the rosary. And one night I was like, I wonder what happens if I don't.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. And then that ventured into, well, I have to go to church every Sunday. Every Sunday, if I didn't, even when I felt sick, like I was really honestly sick and feeling like shit, I still got a guilt trip if I didn't go to church. So I wondered what happens if I just go to the playground, and stay there. And I did that and nothing happened. I'm still breathing. I didn't get struck by lightning. Nothing happened to me. So, okay. And then that just led to more questioning, and a couple trips to the principal's office, because I went to Catholic school. So when I would get into arguments with the religion teacher, and just found that, okay, this I can break the rules and nothing's really happening to me. The only punishment I'm getting is from my parents or the school because I'm not doing what they're telling me to do. That's it. But, the higher power, I'm not getting punished.
Yeah.
So, and then, that just gradually escalated, especially with my more skepticism coming into it, more embracing of science. It was like, all right, I'm done with religion. I don't need it. It's not something I don't need to lean on that anymore. So I can rely on myself, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like I rely on myself, my friends, my family. I don't need religion. Um, but I mean, it comes back to people that are religious, and we see a lot of that in like the whole paranormal community, ghost hunters and demon hunters or whatever, what have you. A lot of them are religious. They do their prayers before they do their ghost hunts. They wear their crucifixes. They do prayers when they leave, something like that. They wear medallions or other stuff like that, and it's part of their life. And the concept of life after death is just natural. So when you bring in a psychic that says, "Hey, I can talk to dead people," it's not like a foreign concept. It's really easily accepted, and I think that's part of the reason why it continues.
Yeah, you know what got to me, Kenny, was like I kept saying something must be wrong here. Maybe I'm in the wrong religion. So I went to like, like a Baptist church, and they were like the sweetest people in the world. Because my daughter, she says, "Dad, why don't you go to church?" And I go, "Because it's Sunday and I'm tired, you know? Don't you want to watch cartoons?" And she's like, "No, I want to go to church." I said, "Okay, well, I'll take you to when I went to Catholic. So what was brutal was I went to where they would do a Latin mass. Now I
Oh,
don't speak Latin,
oh, yeah.
so I would just sit there and be bored out of, whatever. So what's weird? You'd always go to church. That's where you pick up the babes, though. That's where you seriously,
Yes.
that's where you get.
Yep.
If you want a good girl, you go to church.
You go to
So
church, look around.
um so she so I took her to a Catholic church and we went to mass. I said, okay, now so we're gonna next week we'll go to a Protestant one, okay? Said, yeah, okay, we'll go there. She liked the Protestant one too. And then we went to I took her to a Baptist one, and they were very sweet. I remember when we dressed up nicely. I said, you got to dress up when you go to church. She thought that was great. I had to take my son. It was a pain. he was 4 at the time, and just he had his little Jackie Stewart hat on and everything and dressed up. There was an older couple in front of us, and the man turns around and says, is that your daughter? Is that, yeah, yeah. I said, yeah, that's my daughter. And he goes, do you mind if she sits with us? And I was like, yeah, sure. All right. She's right. Yeah. So she goes over there and they held her hand, and it was such a sweet thing. They were so kind to her and so nice. And my daughter loved it. And I was like, okay. And then they what they did at the Baptist church was they said, okay, so the kids need to leave and go to like like the adults stay here and the kids go to another room.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, that's kind of weird, but okay, I know nothing's gonna happen, right? So you know they went, and I remember afterwards, after the service, this guy who played guitar horribly, uh, him saying that he had a gift, and me being a stand-up, I'm like just biting my tongue, just sitting there going, "You are the worst." If that's a gift, I mean,
Give it back.
yeah, like uh, you got. I'll give you a gift. So he, anyways, but what when I said that's it for me was when there was a woman there, an older woman, and she said her husband has Parkinson's, and she said, it's God's plan for him to have this because he fell down and he was bleeding, and I just thought no. I just thought no, I wouldn't accept that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I
Right.
wouldn't be like, hey, this is God's plan. I'd be pretty pissed off about this plan. I don't want my husband or my loved one to have that. Okay.
Right.
This isn't God's plan. That's so that really bothered me, where she just accepted it saying, hey, he wanted him to fall and bust his face, and he could barely walk now, and it's God's plan.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Yeah, and that bothered me the most. That was just like where I just said, no matter where I go, that's why I say I'm agnostic, because I just don't.
Yeah, I don't know what's coming. I'll see when I get there.
Yeah, like there was Sam Harrison gives a great analogy. He goes, do you remember before you were born?
Right.
He goes, that's
Yeah.
what it's going to be like.
Yep.
So people in France, and I know we're all over the place, but why not? So with the topics here, but like, okay, in France, if you were to pass away, if me and Kenny just disappeared, we're gone. Would
Okay.
people sitting in a cafe care? Or would they stop and go, Kenny and Vito are gone? Or would they sit there and just say, we don't even know, like it wouldn't even phase them?
Right.
So that's what made sense to me, because I remember when, when a loved one passed away, I thought the world was going to stop,
Hmm.
right? I thought, why are
Right.
people driving? Why, what, like, stop.
Right.
Like, you need to
Right.
stop here. Someone dear to me, my one, passed away. You need to stop. But the world just
Kept going.
kept going.
Yeah, it
And
doesn't stop.
it just keeps going. So, that's what I kind of tell people is, the world's not going to stop. And as much as you want it to, um, it's not.
Right.
So, uh, you know, anyways, I didn't want to, you know
Live
what?
your life.
Yeah. Live
That's
your
it.
life and be, when people go, well, you're not a whole, a holy person or whatever. Hey man, unless you piss me off, I'm one of the sweetest guys on the planet. Okay. I really am. I will do whatever you need anything, I'll be there for you. I don't I it's this and that's what what I notice about you when you do, like, I don't know you, but I know you from your interviews, and something that always what I got attracted, uh, not, physically, well, a little bit, but
Well, I mean,
I was attracted by how, I love Joe Nichols, right?
right.
So to see him talk to you, and he was talking to you like you were it wasn't like two, like, uh, it was like a father-son conversation.
Yes.
And I absolutely thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Like just the way he spoke to you, like he really cared and he really wanted to, it was like you were the apple in his eye, and I just thought, this is so cool. I've never seen him have these conversations with a person, and just you sitting there and talking to him. It was so nice. It was so nice to see that, to see that everybody thinks he's a cold person. And
Mhm.
no, he's not at all. He's just here's the thing. It's as Kenny says, it's just a science. And sometimes it's either yes or no. And that's all they care about. It's the facts, you know?
Joe, Joe is a really good guy. And he's a very serious. He's no nonsense when it comes to his investigations and what he writes about. And I've had the opportunity to talk to Joe and work with Joe quite a few times. And it's nice. Like I talk to him once in a while on the phone, and he is definitely like he's the father figure. He's the grandfather that you can sit and listen to his stories over and over again. And it's just a great thing. And whenever we get together, that's what it is. I feel like he's my grandfather, and we can just sit and chat. Um, we've worked together. I've actually spent some time up at the Buffalo offices of CFI,
Right.
and they set me up. I had an office right across the hall from him, and we went back and forth, and that was great. I was able to just play with all his toys. Most of the stuff he didn't know I was playing with because he doesn't like his stuff touched, which I get. Um, but it was nice being able to pick his brain and and talk to him. And I do call him once in a while and say, hey, I especially when it comes to older photographs, because he has that knowledge. He has so much. He's forgotten more than I've learned. That's how much knowledge this man has. But when you see him, usually it's through videos. You usually see like videos of his lectures,
Mhm.
and you see like he's very direct. That's what it is. He's very James Randi like,
Yes.
where he's direct and he's blunt and he tells you, exactly what he thinks. And sometimes it's kind of harsh, but he's not being mean on purpose, except when it's well deserved. Like medical mediums and stuff like that. Um, but that's just the way he is, and you don't get to see the personal side of him. You don't get to talk about family and friends and just hang out with him. One of the best moments I've had with him is at SciCon, one of the SciCons, where just him and me, just the two of us, we were off the lobby, just two chairs, just him and I talking, and him giving me advice about like where to go from here, like how to build myself or how to promote myself and not be, a selfish dick about it. Just how to do it kindly and be nice to people. And even he put it like, you don't have to be mean, just be nice, be nice to him, because he has like a relationship with like the people at Lilydale. And then the others, I forget what it is, the other spiritualist community, Chesterfield. Um, he's done work there where he's actually exposed like people that were really faking stuff, and he's not hated by the people that run Chesterfield. They embraced it because he
Right.
had all the information. He has a good relationship with them, and he brought it to them and said, "This is what I found. You might want to look into this because this is bad." So behind the scenes, he's a very sweet and understanding and really nice guy.
You,
And I
you
enjoy
know,
talking to him.
you know what it is, Kenny? What I noticed, what like, of with life and everything, um, those moments that you have with them, those precious moments, that's life.
Yeah.
When you have those moments with somebody that you admire, or they're kind to you, that's life. When somebody takes their time, I mean, I've had people that I've taught, where they're like, I thought you were going to be a dick. And they, a younger comic
Yep.
or whatever, and they're terrified of me because they've heard stories. Well, I was an idiot back then, but they, they're like, thank you for that advice. And it's like, because I tell you this stuff because I don't want you to make these stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the best thing you could do for somebody,
Right.
is
Yeah.
just having a conversation. I remember how he would speak to you, and he would constantly, man, he would spend hours just talking to you. And it was just like, I was like, okay, I was jealous, but I was like, but it's a sweet thing,
Yeah.
and especially the stuff, like, I love that he was a stage magician. He knows all the tricks.
Right.
Plus he did this, he would do like James Bond stuff where he would dress up,
Yeah.
and put on disguises, and you're going, man, that's a job. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
that's a cool job to break down, to call people out. And he gave a great lecture where he just said, you got to stop making fun of people.
Hmm.
You got to stop being a jerk to people.
Right.
You kill them with kindness, and you're doing his work by the way you behave. You're not abrasive. I've seen you ask tough questions, but the way you ask them is, uh, there is a kind way of asking stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is where I think, when he spoke to you, um, you took it in, because most people, I think he realized that you were really taking it in and not going out one ear and coming out the other. You
Hmm.
were really picking his brain, and he loved that.
Right.
Okay. So he wanted that. Uh, and I don't know if he has any children, but it was it was such a sweet thing to see this wonderful uh conversation between the two, where, yeah, I remember you just went up there, just you didn't even have the equipment, or you just set it up your
Yeah.
camera.
Just set up a regular camera. Yeah.
You set up a regular camera, and and he could have easily just said, no, I don't think
Right.
so, take care, thanks for coming.
That
But
that actually started with I had seen him on an episode of, I think it was uh that museum show. Uh Something at the museum. I forget what it is.
oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, I know what you're talking
it's
about.
something where they
Yeah,
showcase different things at different museums.
mysteries of the
Yeah.
museum.
So I saw a segment where he was featured, and it mentioned his skepticism, and I was like, that sounds awesome. I really want to see that. And I went online and I was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff here. And it says, if you want to visit, you got to contact them. So I was like, all right. I called the number and he picked up. And I was like, holy shit. I'm talking to Joe Nickel. Wow. This is amazing. And I talked to him and I said, I really want to come up there and see this. Is it open? And he's like, well, it's kind of a private collection, but it's at the CFI offices. But you can come up. And he's like, as long as it's during the week, you can come up and we can sit down and we can have a chat. And that's how that started. I went up there. I took a couple of days off of work, went up, and just he took me through the entire building. And he's got display cases all over the place. You have no idea how much crap that he has. And when I say crap, I mean cool stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
No,
all
I
over the
yeah, I
place.
know.
And we spent hours. I was there at least 8 hours the entire workday. And it was great. And then we sat down, we talked, and we exchanged numbers. And he's called me since. I've called him a couple times. And we did a presentation together at SciCon, where he suggested, like, hey, we both do photography. I can take care of the old film stuff, and you take care of the new modern stuff that he wasn't well versed in. I was like,
Right.
yes, absolutely, I'll do that. And it's just been a good relationship since. and we talk like I said, on the phone once in a while we talk, and it's probably like an hour or two long conversation where we go
That's
back and forth and just update each other on what's going on and life and family and stuff like that. So really, really good guy. And that's across the board. Because I get like you mentioned how when people come up to you and they're like, I thought you were going to be a dick. The best compliment I get is when people come up to me and say exactly that. Like, I really thought you were going to be a dick. I've heard about you. I heard your reputation. And that comes from people knowing me. And it definitely air quotes here, knowing me from just like interviews, or if I've done videos where I was lashing out about something. I know I did a video about medical mediums and I just went nuts on it because I thought it's very dangerous. So yeah, if you watch that, it looks like I'm a really aggressive kind of person.
yeah,
But when you meet me in person, or if you come on like a show that I'm doing, I want to have a conversation. I'm not aggressive. I want to talk to you, and I'm not going to try to force my beliefs on you, but I just want to talk. If you have something to say, lay it on me. Let me hear
yeah,
it. I'm gonna listen, and I'm gonna have questions. Definitely, I'm always gonna have questions. I might not always have the answer, but I'm definitely gonna have questions. Uh, and if I have advice that I can give you, and you want it, that's the important thing. You gotta want it. If you don't want it, I'm not gonna bother. But if you want advice and I can give it to you, then yeah, I'll sit down and talk to you. And I mean, sometimes, most of the time when we go to conferences, especially paranormal themed conferences, my wife usually leaves me. Like, she just takes off because I will get wrapped up in a conversation with someone, and they're like, "What do you think about this? What do you think? Let me pick your brain." I'm like, "All right, this is the time. We have time to do it. Let's sit down and do that." And I think that makes a big impression on people, because I'm not the evil skeptic. I'm not that mean monster of a skeptic that just wants to debunk everything and prove everyone wrong. I'm sitting
yeah.
down
I
and
I
taking.
think I think that's what turns people off, because what I mean, I used to get a kick out of watching somebody, um, you know, like when James Randi would just, you know, lambaste Uri Geller. I loved it. I just thought
Yeah,
there's a guy who deserves it and blah blah blah. But I love stuff like that. And then but after a while, if you try and emulate, you can only be, you could only be you.
mhm.
And if that's not yourself, if that's not you, the way you are, uh, that shows.
It shows through. It shows the fakeness shows
Yes.
through. Yeah,
So by you being just, a nice person that's respectful, and hey, I may not believe in what you believe, but I'm not gonna make fun of you. I just don't believe in what you believe.
right.
And that is that's the future. I think that will turn more people into skeptics than just screaming at them going, "No, it's
Right.
fake. It's listen, you're an idiot if you believe this. You're an idiot." That
Yeah,
turns people completely off,
yeah.
you know?
Making fun of them, calling them names, that does not work.
Yeah,
Not at all.
if you just talk to them, you say, "Listen," because you know what happened, and this is what happened to me. I remember, again, I go back to Christopher Hitchens, but I remember thinking that is the most evil man on the planet, right? I would just go, this guy is hollow. He's just hollow. He's a hollow human being, has no heart, not a kind guy at all. And I remember how he would go through the Bible or anything like that, and he would just say something, and then I angrily watch him, angrily, and then I would finish watching him. I go to bed. It'd be like 4 in the morning. I'd be lying there wide awake, going, "Yeah, but that thing about the whale he was talking about, you know, I
Yeah.
got it." And I'd run back downstairs, grab my iPad, and just go back to what he
Yep.
said here. And I just listen, and I just go. And he wasn't being a jerk. He was just being himself, just talking
Right.
the way, and yeah, I guess you could call him a jerk. And he went from being this enemy of mine where I just go, this is an evil man. This is just a I hate him. Just this man, just how dare he say these things? And it just started. I started going. I realized that he's actually he's trying to make you better,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what it
That's
felt
it.
like.
That's it. Yeah.
He's just saying, like just you can be better. You don't need to you don't need to go into a tangent about it, but it's when somebody um, says things that was instilled in you for so long,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you get hit by, hey, it's not really that way. There's a different way. Why don't you look at it this way?
Right.
And just you don't you could go back to your old way, but I want you to just step in my shoes just for 1 sec and just listen to what I'm saying. And I think that if you just don't listen, like if you just don't if you're just stubborn, you just sit there, no, 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 you're
Right.
really doing a disservice to yourself, because you should, as a grown up, you should try and listen to every argument out there, and
Right.
that, and then you could make your own. You could either say no, he is evil, or you could sit there and say, you know what, he's got a good point, and he's another one that was taken too early.
Yeah.
So, but
Always need to be open to
yeah,
new ideas, and I hear that a lot from ghost hunters and psychics and mediums and stuff about being open minded, and I agree, but not in the definition that they think. Like usually when it's thrown at me, it's more or less be open minded, meaning listen to me and believe what I'm saying. And that's not how it works. Being open minded means I'm willing to entertain new ideas. I'm going to take your information, I'm going to consider it, I'm going to verify whether it's good or bad. And then, depending on the outcome, I'm going to accept it or refute it. That's what it means. That's exactly what it means. So I'm going to listen to your ideas and we're gonna talk about it. But I'm also, like you suggested, like think about this. How about, instead of saying, maybe look at it from my perspective, or I have done that. Sometimes I say, well, have you ever considered, what else could do that? Besides a ghost, for an example, what else could make that experience happen? Let's brainstorm. Let's do a thought exercise. What could make that happen? And I tried to make them think about alternative ideas. How could they come up with how it would be, how you would get like a transparent figure on a photo or on a video? Push them, make them come up with it. Because I mean, if you can get them to come up with the ideas, it sinks in better. It makes so much more of an impact, rather than me just schooling them or telling them what's going on. I also like to demonstrate. If I can demonstrate or recreate a picture or a video or even a sound or something like that, then I'll do it in front of them and say, what do you think? Let's try this. Help me with this. Um, because that's the best way. If you can get them to help you recreate something or demonstrate something, then they're actively participating. It's not it's not like some big bully coming down and going, no, 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 you're wrong. This is how it's done. They're participating. We're working together, and we're working it out. We're working the problem out. And when you get that resolution to the problem, it makes such a big impact on them. And it opens their eyes. And they're like, oh, wow, okay. All right, it might not be a ghost. It could be this. It could be because I don't know how to work a camera. You're right. It's this setting, or we did it again. Wow, that's really cool. And that's one of the things that I hear a lot, which is great. They learn something from it, and they can take it away and apply it to their future ghost hunts or whatever, and they progress. And that's my goal. That's my goal, to learn as much as I can to make sure that information is good and then pass it along to someone that wants it. so that they can be better. They can be a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy.
Yeah. Good. Because that's the way it should be. I remember doing like it was okay, like doing research. I would go out with real ghost hunters. I would ask, can I go out with you guys, right? And they were like a branch of chaps, whatever it was called,
Taps,
chaps,
taps.
taps. That's it,
Yeah,
taps, chaps. I'm thinking of me Friday
that's a
nights.
different that's a different group.
That's the club I go to every Friday. So um anyway, yeah. Um so I went with them, and it bought I to this day there are two of them that are really nice, like really kind to me, like really sweet. Um but the other guy, I just because he's just anyways. Um because what he did, it bothered me. We went up there, and it took me about 9 hours to get to this place. And this is a young lady with a small child, and she thought her place was haunted. And I spent the whole night there, and we did tons of experiments, and there was nothing. There was n- like Kenny, when I mean nothing, I mean nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
I've been there.
So, but he told her that, it's haunted, and she's scared. So I said, give me your number, please, and you could have my number. And I called her the next day, and I said, listen, there is nothing going on up there. Okay. So if there is anything, I'm 9 hours away from you. I'll be up there in a sec, but I want you to really think about, you live in an old house.
Hmm.
Okay. And it did make noises, but it was just, it was winter, and she had like a steel roof. And I'm going, what's
Okay.
going on is you probably, I've got a kind of gazebo where it's got the steel, where during the day, like when it starts cooling off, it starts making that sounds like it's raining.
Popping noise. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, that's what's going on here. Like, to me, that's what's going on.
Right.
So I said, if there's any problem, but if something weird, I mean, you're talking about some scary situations that have been going on. You call me, I'll come up there. I don't want you alone by
Hmm.
yourself. She said, okay, thank you. I called her a week later, and I said, everything okay? And she goes, yeah, it kind of does make those noises, and, but you know what it was? I believe that she was like, um, I don't want to say bipolar, but she was suffering from some type of I'm not a doctor, but it just felt
Right.
like the way she was talking, it just didn't seem right.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And I said to her, I go, have you talked to your doctor about any of this? And she, oh no. And I go, can you please talk to your doctor about
Right.
this? Because if you think you're hearing voices in another room and there's nothing there, and I was there, and I can't, you know, I'm not saying you're a liar or anything like that, but I need you to talk to your doctor about this.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So she talked to her doctor, and then, anyway, she told me, anyways, what happened is nothing happened, and she thanked me, and I think, what was it? God, it's been so long. I kind of miss her. But it was like, I think like 3 years ago was the last time she called. She said, I just want to say thank you. I thought you were gonna come out, and the other guy scared the crap out of me because he told me to play. He told her that it was, like, it's the fifth ring of hell, and that bothered me.
Hmm.
Kenny, that bothered me.
As it should. Yeah.
I was like, that's why I said, can you give me your number? Because I need to talk to you, not around moron, but I need to talk to you, just me and you on the phone. Okay.
Right.
And she said, thank you. After all this, she said, you were right. I was alone. My boyfriend left us, and I was in this house by myself, and I had a small child, and, and I don't need to get into the medical
Right.
stuff,
Right.
but she just needed a little help from her doctor, you
Hmm.
know, and that made me feel good, you know.
Good. Yeah.
But it's like what I noticed was why I did that was because I wanted to learn how to ghost hunt and actually incorporate that into my show.
Hmm.
Now, when I would go to locations and call them up and say, um, I need to shoot for 3 days up at your location, they would say, okay, well, it's like 5 grand a day, and I don't have that budget. Like if it was the museum or something like that, like we shot at some really cool places. But I said, I go, okay, well, how about I send you a script and you read it and you let me know. Okay.
Yeah.
And they would like a week later, they would call and go, listen, uh, how about $300 a day? Is that okay? Because I had to incorporate, there was a haunting.
Right.
They had to have, like, there was a place in Niagara Falls that their hotel room, she was like, it's haunted, it's all this, it's all that. And I said, well, I'm doing a ghost hunting show. And she's like, oh, well, we are very haunted, right? Like you are going to talk about the haunting.
Yeah.
And I was like, Kenny, I was like, okay, how about I give you a script? So all these places I was giving scripts, and she was like, okay, can you, 250 and just make sure I get a copy. And as long as I promised that I would go script, like go by the script, like if
Right.
if the haunting was of a ghost pushing people down the stairs and like the ghost supposedly up there, if you fall, he'll cap he'll he'll grab you, like he won't
Okay.
make you fall.
Yeah.
So I incorporate that into the story. And that's where she was like, okay, that's great. As long as you incorporate that in the story, I'm not going to charge you a fortune to be here.
Right.
I'll just charge you 300 bucks a day. And I was like, okay, great. Like the museum of Toronto, he was just like 5 grand a day. I'm not joking. 5 grand a day he wanted. And he was just like, hey, $300 a day. And you promise that it's going to be like the way it is, the way it was written, the way you wrote it. And I said, yeah,
Right.
that's all. And that's what
Hmm.
I feel like is places these days. Like when I was a kid, if there was a haunting, you didn't want to stay there, right?
Yeah.
Remember how it
Yep.
was? It was just like, hey man,
You were
no way.
scared. Yeah. You're
Yeah, it's
scared to stay
scary.
there.
But now it's like, guys, for our honeymoon, we're gonna go stay where Buddy got his head chopped off, and
Yep.
oh, we're gonna stay there. It's awesome.
It's big business now.
Yes, and
It's
that's
big. Yeah. Ghost or bank.
yeah,
That's
and
it.
and that's where I just sit there and I go, man, it's not, it's not like it used to be, you
Yeah.
know, it's not, the fear. What I notice is like the fear that they want to incorporate is not the fear with the people uh, looking for the so-called paranormal activity. The fear is you sitting at home watching the show. That's the goal, to
Yeah.
scare you at home.
Yep.
Like that's
There's I'm gonna steal a story from a friend of mine. So Jason Hawes, he does Ghost Hunters, the original show. And he's a friend of mine, and he's been on the show once, and that was actually a great show because people thought we were gonna have a SmackDown like celebrity death match kind of thing,
right.
and nobody realized that we've been friends for 20 years. We've known each other. Um, but he was telling me we actually sat down, we did a panel discussion a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about stories and different places, and he brought up this location that wanted them to come out and investigate, and they're like, you got to come out, there's a lot of activity, we're really concerned, and this and that. So he was like, all right, they sound sincere, they sound like they're really worried. And at some point, after they got there, this guy that called him out was building a website that was promoting events coming that Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, come see ghost hunters investigated this place. And Jason was like, what are you doing? Like, we're not even done here. We don't even know if we have anything. And the guy was just hell-bent on, hey, you're here, we're promoting this, and we're going to get money out of this. You
Yeah.
know, like that's it. It was a money thing. Nothing to do whether the place was actually haunted or not. It was a tourist trap. And I mean, that's what we see now. It's big business. It's a lot of money. Especially after the pandemic and all that stuff. Like they're really hyping the shit out of it now.
Yeah.
Come out here. It's haunted. We have ghosts. We've been on this show. We've been on this television show. We've been featured in this movie. Come on out. The Stanley Hotel, the big one from The Shining. I mean, you have your famous, what is that, 212, 234? I forget the famous room.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah.
But that's still the most requested room because that's the room everybody wants. You know, so they're gonna promote that kind of story. They're gonna promote that spookiness.
Yeah, this ghost won't even, it'll do more than scare you. It'll give you COVID,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I mean, and that's where that bothers me because I just sit there and I go, they don't even give a shit about, like,
no,
to me, when I wanted to be a ghost hunter, I really wanted to find out.
yeah,
I really wanted to
yep,
know. And that's when when I was doing the show, it was kind of, uh, the woman, the Space Channel, she was just like, you know, uh, they had to know that you can't just be walking around in a basement. Something has to happen,
right,
and you have to incorporate that into the story. So it's just, and then if there's a psychic there, you got to explain to the psychic. It's just like dealing with actors, it's just like, okay, by the way, we're going to be, when they tell the psychic, when they go, um, oh, the psychic has no idea that we're going to be here. The psychic knows a month ahead of time
right.
where that,
Where you're going,
yeah,
what time you'll be there,
yes,
everything going on.
what
Yeah,
room we're going to be in.
hmm,
They have the script themselves because they're in the script.
yeah,
So that kind of bothers me because it kind of, it makes people, and it could backfire because I'm hopefully it backfires because so many people, uh like, you ever see those videos, uh they'll be late at night and they go top 10, it's some guy with a weird voice who'll go top 10 scariest
yep,
ghosts in Canada, number one. And it's just, he's got the weirdest voice, and then he'll have like something weird will happen, and it's CGI, it's stuff like it's just,
crap.
yeah, and it's just, but to me, if you already have like kind of a mental, you're, I don't mean to mean like you got mental
Right,
problems, but if you're a paranoid person, that's not helping people.
right, yeah,
It's really making people worse. Like, have you ever dealt with like, I've dealt with a person where, uh and I remember it was this girl, and we were talking about ghosts, and I just said, there's nothing here, and she went ballistic.
right,
Like, I mean, Kenny, it was weird. Like, it was one of those things where, when you you're talking to somebody, and all of a sudden the conversation, you shouldn't have.
it goes south.
Yeah,
Like there's that turning point where you're like,
like,
oh
she was
shit.
she was shaking, like, just going, like veins, just,
Yeah,
and I'm just going, and she's a tiny thing, and I'm just sitting there going, man, like, you just calm down, it's okay. No, no, you're wrong, you're
right.
wrong.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's a weird, and I hate putting people in that feeling. I don't want to make them uncomfortable. I just thought it would be one of those, conversations you go, oh yeah, I never thought of it that way. But it's with some people, these shows will make them go to the deep end
hmm,
because
yep,
they'll believe, like, anything. Like, when I told you about the spirit box, people believe that, you could buy a spirit box off of eBay or uh, Amazon, and it's going to be a demon. First of all, why in the hell would you want to open up with a demon? Like they'll read it and go, "Oh, this is Beelzebub," and from the 5th century, he killed and pillaged, and yeah, he's in this box. I'm going to open it up in my house. You know, I mean, it's to me, it's going to
It's
that.
silly. Yeah.
It's becoming comical. Where when we watched that show last night, I didn't find that comical. I thought it was very cool.
Yeah. It
You
was
know?
really cool. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And there's been many times where I've received emails or messages from people, or even face to face, where they're like, "Hey, this is real, and your skepticism is wrong, this and that." And I said, what do you got? Let me see. Show me what you got, and let's talk about it. And I can't tell you how many times people have said something like, "Well, there's 10 seasons of Ghost Adventures. That's for one." I'm
Yeah.
like, you're kidding me, right? That's exhibit A for 10 seasons of a reality ghost hunting show. You're kidding me, right? And it's just, yeah, these reality shows have been ingrained and incorporated into our pop culture and in society, and it's they're being offered as proof. It's like, no, it's not proof. And I mean, if you want to, we can go episode by episode, but I don't have that kind of time right now, or ever. But we can take a few examples. And one of the things, this is actually something I learned from Ben Radford, who is he's one of the editors for Skeptical Inquirer, is if you have all this information, all this proof, give me your best. Let's skip over all the stuff that's kind of good or really good. Let's go for the best. What's your top 3 examples of the best evidence you have of everything? Let's start there. So, because if we can find explanations for that, then the rest of the stuff that you're going to provide, there's
Yeah.
we don't have to.
Yeah.
We just don't have to, because I just knocked out your top 3. Let's start there. And usually, most of the time, they won't do it. Occasionally, yes, somebody will be like, "All right, cool, I'll send you this and we'll go through it and we can knock out the top 3." I'm like, "Well, there you go. That's your best of your best. There's no reason to keep going
Yeah.
anymore, unless you have something new that you consider the best of the best. We're done here."
Yeah.
I'm not spending any more time on this, because for one, I have a life. I do have other things to do. And that's something I found too. I don't know if you found that, but once you start doubting or you're challenging their claims, all of a sudden it's like, well, prove this, prove that. And they want you to do hours and hours and hours worth of work for free. And I'm
Yeah.
not in it for the money, but I'm also not in to waste my time.
Yeah, but it's kind of like um they don't want the truth. Like I've interviewed Ben. I love making Ben laugh because he's got a cool laugh and he thinks I'm an idiot, but he's funny.
He's a good guy. Yeah.
He is. He's a very very nice man, and um, like I noticed that when you tell people stuff, they are so adamant that you're lying or you're trying to deceive them, and I'm like, what am I getting out of this?
Right.
I'm not getting, like, I'm not. You think I enjoy, like, I'm not, like, they feel like you're trying to make them look stupid, and it's just like, no, man, I'm not.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm not. I care for you, actually.
I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
And for
And
one, you came to me. That's
right.
the majority of these conversations. You came to me.
Yeah, and it's just they're so ingrained, because what I notice with these groups, ghost hunting groups, they are literally and I didn't like this. Like the last one I went out with, it was kind of like a hangout,
Right. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I've
And
been
I
there.
and I and I was like, aren't we just gonna do like I was ready, you know, I'm there. I want to do scientific. I got my cameras. I want to like really do.
I want to do this. Let's
Yeah.
get started.
I
Yeah.
don't want to you know, like the one girl, you know, like she was like trying to pick up another guy that was there, and I was
I'm not
just
here to hang out. I'm not
yeah,
here to party.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like if we went ghost hunting to a place, to a house, and I remember when they brought me out and they know me as a comic, so they're like, "Oh God, you know, you're gonna do some comedy," and I'm like, "No, I'm not doing comedy." Oh, you know, we thought,
Right.
you know, you were going to do comedy, you were going to make us laugh. And I go, aren't we looking for ghosts?
Yeah.
So,
I,
like, it's like if me and you went out and I said to you, I go, okay, we're going to look at, you know, this haunted castle. We're going to this castle.
awesome.
Awesome. Fantastic. I love
Hmm.
castles. So, we go to this castle and I say to you, Kenny, did you bring your plumbing? Did you bring any plumbing? What are you talking about plumbing?
What are you
Well, I
talking about?
figure since we're here, you can do some plumbing. Okay, because the bathrooms are screwed up, and I heard you're kind of a plumber, so why don't you do some plumbing? And it's like you would look at me like, buddy, you're an idiot. Like
Yep.
how why like that's the thing when they talk about, that's what I love about Joe and Ratbird. Like they they're serious.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know, like I want to get to the bottom of this, not just for me, but for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we could put this to bed. And what I'm seeing lately is the opposite effect. I'm seeing more and more of these stupid shows that I'm just going like this isn't uh I believe there are aliens out there. I do. But they consider us as we are the laughing stock uh, in the galaxy. They have come by. They go by really quick, and if you listen, you
Lock the
turn,
doors.
yeah, if you listen and you turn up your speakers, you would be hearing little green men laughing their asses off. Okay, because they're like, these are the dumbest creatures in the universe. They, you know what I mean? Like they just they're that that's that's the way I see it. It's just like they like nobody wants to uh like nobody wants to sit there and say, Kenny, you were right. You know what? That
Yeah.
house that was haunted, you proved that there's no haunting there.
Right. Right. They
Like
don't want to be
nobody
wrong.
nobody but nobody wants to do that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just put it to bed. Like it's done.
It's really hard, and I get this. I understand it completely, but it's really hard to admit when you're wrong. And I've come across it so many times, and I've done it. Like, I mean, when I submit articles, when I try to offer ideas and I'm wrong, and someone tells me I'm wrong, that used to really hurt. That used to really get to me. Like, holy shit, what do you mean I'm wrong? No, I know what I'm doing. I'm a ghost hunter. I'm this and that. And then it took a while for me to realize, okay, why are they saying I'm wrong? Am I wrong? Am I really wrong? Holy shit, I am wrong. I need to fix this. I really need to fix this. That's another problem. First problem is getting over being wrong and acknowledging it. The second is fixing it, and making it right. Admitting you're wrong is really hard to do, especially in this age of social media where it's so easy just to delete something so it never existed. And I don't do that. Even when I'm wrong and I post something out, I've done it a few times where I jumped the gun and I was wrong about something. I don't delete it.
Yeah.
I add on to it and say, edit, I was wrong. This is why I was wrong. And this is what I'm doing to rectify it. So it's I see it in people. I see the difficulty in admitting that and trying to come to grips with it. But it's just something people have to learn. That's that's just life.
But
You
you know
have
what I think it is, Kenny? I think it's this. I think that it's like being in church or being in a group of people that, you're in a group, right?
Mhm.
And you don't want to let if we were skeptics, we were working together, I wouldn't want to let you down, and the guys and the
Right,
girls.
right.
Like if somebody showed me a real ghost, a real, saying, "Hey, man, this is a ghost," and I go there and I see one, and then I come to you, and you're like, "Well, Vito, what did you see?" And I go, "Nothing," because I don't want to lose you as a friend. I love the hangouts.
But see, I think that's the difference between a group of believers and a group of skeptics that are that are real skeptics, not just cynical people that just hate everything.
Right.
Um, but when we work together, like when I work with Joe, when I work with Ben, when I worked with anyone else, Sharon Hill, Susan Gerbic, Mark Edward, all these other big people that are known in the skeptic circles, when I work with them, we're not afraid to say we don't know or we're wrong or tell someone else, hey, that's not right. I'm not afraid to say, hey, what do you think of this? I think it's this. What do you think? And like someone like Mark will be like, no, that's not the way you do it. You do it this way. Or Ben will come right out and say, no, that's fucking stupid. Don't do that. We can do that. We can talk to each other because we understand communication is important. We understand that we all don't have the answers. We understand that we're all learning or we're all trying to figure it out and we have different perspectives and we're bringing different things to the table and we have to talk about it. We have to get a consensus going, not just everyone's right or let's pat each other on the back. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to tell this person they're wrong because I don't want to offend them.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Science is based on us telling other people when they're wrong because that's how we learn and progress. So I think that's a big difference between the stereotype believers and skeptics. The believers just want to all be happy and be nice and not offend each other and believe what they want to believe, even though it contradicts each other. They're not going to say nothing. While we, on the other hand, will say something and we'll point out your flaws. We'll point out when you're wrong and we'll fix it. We fix. That's what science is. It fixes itself. When it's
Yeah.
wrong, it stumbles, it looks at it again and goes, oh, this is what we did wrong. We fix it. That's
Or there's that old story that Richard Dawkins told, that a professor, uh, he told this story. God, I'm not doing it justice, but um, where it was a science professor, and during class, a younger student, like something that he published years ago that he was teaching, it turned out that it was wrong. So a younger student, uh, stood up and told him it was wrong and explained to him why it was wrong. And the professor, what he did is he walked over to him and punched him right in the mouth. No, he walked right up to him and put out his hand and shook it and said, "Thank you."
yeah,
And that is the proper way to do things.
yep,
You're talking about a man that you could imagine the ego, of being this professor for, I don't know, it was Harvard or some big school, but this man was, considered the top,
top of his game.
he's a
Yeah,
professor, and then he has this young guy come along and tell him he's wrong, and not only tell him he's wrong, but what he needed was the proof.
right.
Prove me wrong, and he did. And the professor did what a rational person would do. They would stick out their hand and say, "Thank you."
Yes,
And and that is the difference between the way things are and the way things
should be.
should be.
Yeah,
That's the sad thing.
yeah,
But Yeah, man, I could talk to you all night, but next time, promise, we're gonna do this again, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because the next subject I didn't even get to this was I wanted to talk about like Bigfoot and Nessie and all these, whatever. But
Yeah,
I wanted to talk, but it just it's
it's
not
all right. Hey,
not
count conversations like this just have a mind of their own, and they just go, and
well,
I go with the flow.
yeah. Well, what happens is you want to. This isn't. I always love these conversations because I always think of Joe Rogan because he says when you speak to somebody for more than an hour, you really have a conversation,
Mhm.
or an honest conversation.
Yeah,
And that's what I want. So you may not like it, you may disagree, but at least you can sit back and go, they had a conversation about it.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the whole point of it. And yeah, I really appreciate this. And what do you got to plug? What do you got? You got anything you got to plug?
Oh, well, let's see. I can plug every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. I do my live broadcast called the Skeptical Help Bar. It goes to my YouTube channel, which is under my name, Kenny Biddle. It also goes to my Facebook page. I am Kenny Biddle, and then another Facebook page called WLFE-DB Radio Network. I do 2-hour Q&A where anyone can come on and ask paranormal questions of a skeptic. Sometimes I have guests on, and sometimes it's just me. And we drink because it's a bar. We drink, we have good conversations like this, and the chat room is always hopping because people are lots of questions and they get into discussions themselves, which is awesome. Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, I do another podcast called Three Tortured Souls with my two friends that you met last night, Tim Vickers and Dave Schumacher. We broadcast that to our Facebook page and our YouTube channel under the same name, Three Tortured Souls. And I do a column for Skeptical Inquirer magazine called A Closer Look, and that's usually every other week. I try to get something in, but I write a lot, I talk a lot, so it usually takes me a little bit longer to get my articles out because they're so in depth. Uh, but other than that, I mean, I do attend some paranormal conferences. I don't have them in front of me, but I do skeptic conferences. I do meetings and lectures and stuff from time to time. So I usually post them on my websites. Uh, but other than that, I mean, nothing else.
Awesome. If you can send me those links, what I'll do
Sure.
is I'll put those under this on my YouTube page. So when go check them out.
Okay.
I checked him out, and he's got some really cool. There's the Joe Nickel conversation that he had that is just really it's really cool to watch.
Awesome.
Uh, but yeah, I do love a guy with passion, and you've got it in spades. And
Thank you.
that is something that I wish more people had. Uh, in pretty much in anything. Um, any aspects of life. So, Kenny, I want to thank you for your time. I know it was super long. I am sorry,
It's
but
all right. It was good. If I didn't like it, I would not have stayed.
well, yeah, at least you're not like Ben. Ben calls me like a, a slur. I don't want to say it, and then just leaves. And
Well, Ben's an asshole,
he's
so
naked. It's like he's got to see his fat ass walk away. It's brutal because he doesn't shave. He needs a
uh,
tan.
I
So
love him. I love him though.
yeah, he's awesome. Kenny, thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome, sir.
I will, but send me those links. And
Yes.
folks, subscribe. If you have any questions, please, if next time
Look
I
me up.
talk to
Yeah.
Kenny, I'll let him know your questions. And if they're dirty, I'll still let him know. All right.
Yeah. They're fun.
All right. Thank you so much, Kenny.
You're
You're the
welcome,
best.
Vito.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.